Okay, hi there, good evening. I'm going to start the class. It's 10:20 already. It's more than 5 minutes, so I have to begin. I'm going to continue working on the next lessons. All right, perhaps I'm sure you're going to be joining and later on. If that's not the case, once again, this is going to be a recording for you to watch, and then you have to continue working right on your own. But the idea is that we have to try to do everything to work together in class. But anyway, let's start with this next lesson, that is embedded questions. Okay, so embedded questions are like questions inside another question or questions inside statements. Okay, that's how we can understand this topic, embedded questions. So it says, this is the first usage. We can use embedded questions as part of older questions. This is sometimes called an indirect question, and is often used to be polite. For example, the normal question, right, it is, where's the station? And the indirect question or the embedded question would be, could you tell me where the station is? Right? So we are still using, I'm going to mark that part I'm talking about. We are still using the main question, the normal question, but of course we have some changes, right? Where's the question is with inversion, right? Where is the station? And when you answer, you say the station is here. So in embedded questions, you need first one more question. Could you tell me, plus your question, where is the station? But what is the change that you don't say that you say where the station is? Because the rule says that if you work with embedded questions, your main question has to be in statement order. Okay, it means subject, verb, complement. If you have complement, in this case, we have subject, the station is the verb, right? So it has to be in that order, in statement order. So this is the first one. The second one, this is an introduction. We're going to learn little by little how to do it. We can also use embedded questions as part of statements. Okay, the embedded question is a noun clause and can be used in a similar way to a noun. So here the question is, where does she work? Right? Where does she work? That is what we have. Now, in the next part, embedded question in a statement, I don't know where she works. Okay, I don't know where she works. Now here we have the question, but it is in a statement order, right? So one more time. In a statement, you don't say does, right? You don't say where she does work. It's possible only with emphasis, but in a normal statement, just where she works, where subject verb. Okay, so always a statement order. That is very, very important. If we go to the next part, we're going to now work little by little. Now, I'm going to work with two examples. Okay, two examples. I hope this works. All right, give me 1 second. I'm going to open the documents that we use, and we are, we're going to be following the steps that the presentation is going to tell us. All right, I'm waiting a little bit because I think it's slow. It's still very slow. Okay, now, here. Let's work. So let's have 4 questions. Okay, we're going to write 4 questions. Very easy. What What is his name? That's one question. Where does she, okay, like to travel? Where does she like to travel? Then, what else could it be for the purpose of our detail? Okay, yes, we need now past. Actually, it's going to be 6 questions, I think. All right. Are you or do you want pasta? And now, let's with some different elements. Were you in the park? Or yes, in the park, it's okay. Were you in the park? Where have you been? And why do... No, let's have something different. Who? Okay, who is who is his friend? Let's have different ideas. Okay, now let's work with the details. We're going to change or accommodate these elements into embedded questions. All right, so let me, I'm going to wait, I'm going to organize this, and I'm not going to speak, all right, as I'm doing it, because it's going to get a little bit slow, so let me have everything ready. Okay, so if there is a question word, we keep it. Okay, so here, if we have what, we keep what. Okay, so we're going to work with embedded questions down below. So here we have what, we keep what. Okay, but first, actually, before doing this, we are going to set different introductions for all of them. For example, this is going to be with a question, right? Could you tell me, this is our embedded question. And could you tell me, now, this is a statement. I don't know. All right, this will be another question. Do you mind telling me? Here will be, now we need a statement, right? So it would be, I was wondering. Okay, so I'm writing the introductions. It means these are the questions or the statements, and our question has to be part of this. So, I was wondering, then here, where have you been? This will be with another question, so it could be, do you know? Okay, do you know? And finally, one more statement. So this will be, I don't remember. Okay, now we have these elements. These are our main questions. Now let's follow the rules. If there's a question word, we keep it. So here we have a question word. Yes, okay, that's going to be separate. What? Okay, could you tell me what? Here we have a question word. Yes. So where? Here we don't have a question word, so we're going to do that later on. Here we don't have a question word, we're going to do that later on. Here we do have a question word, so I don't know where. And here we don't have it. No, we have it, sorry. Who? Okay, so we are following the rules. We have question words, so we keep them. Now, if there is no question word, use if or whether. All right, so here we have two cases, right? This and this. So do you mind telling me if, okay, I was wondering whether, so we're applying the two of them. That's rule number 2. Number 3, use normal sentence grammar. It means we don't use do, does, it in affirmative ideas. So here, normal sentence order. This is going to be very easy. His name, that's the subject, is the verb, right? So what his name is, okay, we are missing some things, but that's the order. Here, does she like to travel? So where, what is the subject? She, the verb, likes the complement. Travel. Here, do you mind telling me if you want some pasta, right? Sentence order, statement order. I was wondering whether you were, right? Subject, verb. Whether you were in the park or not. That's what we can do when we have whether, right? Then, where have you been? Do you know? No, where has. Let's have something different. If not, it's going to be the same with you. Where has she been? So do you know where subject, she, verb has been with the complement? And who is his friend? Now this is interesting because here, or actually here, we're good. Who his friend is. Okay, good. Let's continue. Normal sentence word order. We are doing that. Subject, verb, complement, not the opposite. Then full stop or periods, right? If we are in statements, or question marks if we are in questions. So here, could you tell me this is what? This is a question. So what his name is? Question mark. Okay, that is very important. Now here, I don't know, this is a statement where she likes to travel, period. Why? Because this is a statement, right? It's not a question. Do you want some pasta, right? Do you mind telling me if you want some pasta? And this is question, right? That's question. So we need what? We need question mark. Right? Do you mind telling me if you want some pasta? Where, oh sorry, were you in the park? I was wondering whether you were in the park or not. So this is what? Statement, right? So what's for a statement? You have periods. Then you have here, where has she been? Do you know where she has been? This is a question. So let's use a question mark. Who is his friend? I don't remember who, right? This is a statement. Who his friend is. Right? And period. Right? Why? Because it is a statement. Okay, so that's rule number 5. If that's clear, very good. And actually, with that, we are done. These are words or expressions that you can use to start your embedded question. For example, I wonder why she said that. They don't know what they are doing. We don't remember where the house is. I'm not sure when we are going to arrive. Find out. let's find out what time the show starts. She's thinking about how she's going to do it. Forget, I've forgotten why I started this. All right, so those are options to start with the statements. All of those are statements, and you use your question in that statement for following the rules. Then you have questions. Do you know? Could you tell me? Is it possible to know? Would you mind telling me? All right, in those four cases, you have then a question inside another question. All right, and that's the logic again for embedded questions. That's the logic behind it. Now, let me just okay, now that's the rule. Now we are here. Formulas, these are the formulas. This is what we did, right? Question or statement plus if or whether, if it's a yes no question, or plus WH words. All right, if we are working with WH words. And then you have your list of links to practice. Okay, so we should be good. Again, I don't know, we cannot practice. Just in case, I'm going to see if you wrote something. But again, something important to take into account is the yes, we have it here. I was forgetting the calendar. Okay, so this is our calendar, and we saw this calendar, right? And remember that we had one day off that was yesterday, okay, Monday. Now we are continuing with these elements, and we are going to keep working, all right? But that's the only day off we had. Now we have to continue working with all the other days. So I'm going back to the presentation. We finished with this. I'm going to start a new one. So guys, I worked on one presentation now. It is embedded questions. Because of the time, I need to go now to the next one, the next presentation that it is going to be, let me see, participial adjectives. So please, you can watch this first part of the class. If you get questions, we can use some extra time tomorrow. Actually, the first 15 minutes could be to check any questions that you have for this lesson, and also for the lessons that you had for on Friday. Okay, if you were able to watch the class, the Friday's class, you can let me know if you have questions about it. And tomorrow, again, the first 15 minutes are going to be to ask questions about these topics and to practice those specific elements. But again, I don't know if you have questions before we can go now to the next topic class. It's just you watching the class, the topics, and letting me know tomorrow in case you have questions. All right, so do you have any questions now or any comments? Okay, now let's go then next to the next lesson. We finished with embedded questions. Let's go to participial adjectives. Now, here we have something interesting, and I think you know this difference, guys. I think that we talked about this. Let's wait a little bit, please. Okay. Now, guys, what is the difference between amazing and amazed? Between those two adjectives, guys. Amazing and amazed.
One you use for people and the other for situations or things.
Okay, yes, in a certain way it's related, but the one that is for situations or things, it can also be for, but which one? Which one is it for people and which one is it for situations or things, as you say?
For people is amazed. And for other situations, amazing.
Okay, good. Now, one question. Is it possible to use amazing with people as well?
Probably.
Okay, let's try to do it. In what situation can you use an adjective with ing with people? What example can you think of?
Interested, interesting.
Good, yes. And what example can you give me using the interesting form, right, with ing with people?
I am very interested learning this.
Okay, but the ing, can we use the ing form with people?
Yeah, this movie was very interesting.
Okay, but movie is a thing, right? But with people, what about with people?
Oh, with people?
The ing. Okay, actually it's the same. What's the difference between she's interesting and she's interested? What's the difference between those two? And because the two of them are correct, but the meaning is different. What could it be the difference?
I know that you just use it for people interested but not interesting, so I don't know.
Okay, good. It's a good start, but actually you use two of them. Why? Because the rule is not that one is for people and the other one is for objects. The rule is that the ed is the feeling. Yes, ed works only for people and animals because you feel, right? You can say, I'm bored, or you can say, my dog is bored, right? For living beings, but mainly if it's a human being or an animal. So we can use that for people and animals. But we use ing in adjectives for everything: people, animals, objects, ideas, situations, events, everything, absolutely everything. Why? Because with ing it means that you produce something. If you say that you are interesting, it means that you produce the feeling of other people to be interested in you, right? So you can be interesting. You are interested in something. You are interested in a class or in a movie. But if you are interesting, right, people are interested in you. Okay, so I'm going to ask you some questions again later on, but we're going to see if we were paying attention. Here we have the main evidence. With the explanation that I gave you, Gladys, what is the difference then between she's boring and she is bored, and they are surprising and they are surprised? What do you say? Because all of them are correct, as we just explained, right? But how can you explain the difference then between them, guys?
She's bored, she's boring. One is the feeling that she is getting in the moment, and the other is that she's boring. I don't know how to explain.
Let's try to explain that together. Yes, so she's bored is how she's feeling, right? She's like, because she doesn't like the class, right? She's bored, like, I don't like this class. But she's boring, it means that I can be bored with her. So when I see her, I say, oh, she again, right? So she's boring. So boring can be people, can be actions, can be anything, because she is producing that feeling, right? She's not feeling that, she's producing that feeling. Okay, that's why anything can be with ing. She can be bored or she can be boring, right? And the difference is very big, but the two of them are correct. So with that logic also, guys, the same logic, How do you explain the difference between they are surprising and they are surprised?
I don't really see the difference yet. Like,
All right, let's analyze then this. Perhaps this is going to help. Here, that girl, look, this is a person, right? A girl. She's stunning, so I am stunned. ing is anything that provokes that feeling, okay? Anything. A person can produce you, can cause you to be boring. A movie can cause you to be bored, right? A situation can cause you to be bored. So anything that causes you to be bored is boring. Anything that produces, that causes you to be stunned is stunning. A girl, a movie, a situation, right? Anything that produces you or causes you to be amazed is amazing. A movie, a girl, a boy, a group of people, anything is amazing, right? So again, anything, absolutely anything that causes you to feel like that, then is the adjective with ing. For example, how do you describe the yes, how do you describe the group of people that makes you feel surprised, guys? How do you describe that group of people that makes you feel surprised?
they are surprised.
They are surprised or surprising, the group of people that makes you be surprised.
Surprising.
Surprising. How do you describe the class that makes you feel bored? It is boring, right? The class is boring. How do you describe the teacher that makes you feel bored? The teacher is boring, right? How do you describe the man that makes you feel bored? The man is boring. Okay, so again, boring produces the feeling. Bored is the feeling. All right, so that's why again, to make that clear, the ed is always going to be a feeling. The ing is always going to be the stimuli. Okay, stimuli, you can call it a group of stimulus, right? The stimuli that makes you feel that. Okay, but let's understand that. Perhaps if you have questions, you can stop me at any moment. But here we're going to understand that better with these elements here, guys. Let's read this slide, please.
We usually use the past participle ending in ed to talk about how someone feels. For living begins, not for objects.
So let's continue with the examples, please.
I was really bored during the flight. Not, I was really boring during the flight. She's interested in history. Not, she's really interested in history. John's frightened of spiders. Not John's frightening of spiders.
Great. Now I believe that this is clear, right? At least you made me see that is that we don't have problems with ed, right? We know that it's not only for people, but for living beings, and not every living being, right? Mainly again for animals, right? For all animals that can feel something. They can be bored, they can be scared, right? They can have those feelings, those emotions. But now, the next part is the one that we have to practice, right? That perhaps still not clear. This is for, as you can see, people, things, situations, anything that caused, that produced, that provoked, that initiated, that started, or began the feeling. All right? Anything. So let's read this slide, please. Also applies everything. The explanation plus the 3 examples.
We usually use the present participle ending in ing to talk about the person, thing, or situation which has caused the feeling. It was such a long, boring flight, so I was bored. I read a really interesting book about history, so I was interested. Many people find spiders frightening, so they are fighting it when they see spiders.
Great. Thank you, Gladys. Right? So if there is something boring, then there is someone bored. If there is something or someone interesting, then there is someone interested in that. If there is something frightening, then there is someone frightened, right? So there's always going to be the two parts. But remember this, then guys, the only thing that is different to what you said, because what you said is correct, the only thing that we change is that ing then is not only for situations or things, it is also for people and animals, okay? Because it's anything that can produce or cause that feeling, all right? And now this is the logic that we follow. So this is also going to help us understand better. And again, you're going to let me know if you have questions. But first, let's read all these examples, please, guys. Logic.
The movie is amazing, so I'm amazed. That girl is stunning, so I'm stunned. The class is boring, so I'm bored. They are surprising, so we are surprised.
Thank you very much. So once again, right, in these two examples, that girl is stunning and they are surprising. We can see that they, right, in this case, a girl is stunning and a group of people, right, they are surprising. All right, it's just to show that it can be with anything, absolutely anything, including people. Now again, of course, here they tell you, right? Be careful, I'm boring is very different to I'm bored, but both are correct, right? I'm boring means I produce that, I'm bored means I feel that. All right, and here you have examples with people, right? If you take a look at this, you have a boring guy, a really interesting woman, right? And the maths teacher was frightening, right? These 3 examples are with people, and they are correct because that's how they are. Okay, so another word to, or another way to express this, that is that you use ing with people when you are describing how they are, all right, or the way they are. He's boring, that's the way he is. She's interesting, that's the way she is. And that teacher is frightening, that's the way he is. All right, so when you describe the way someone is, ing. When you describe just the feeling, that's it, right? It's sensing at that moment, eating. Okay, so I went around and around that so that it's clear, but I need to know now if you have questions, guys. Let me know, please, if you have some questions for this topic.
Can I use both? Like every time, is there a way to say she's bored, she's boring, like for everything? Or there is exceptions where you can use just ed or ing?
Yes, I mean, as you said, as you were able to see, it's only with living beings, right? Only with living beings. That's the limit. But ing you can use with anything. As long as the meaning that you're giving that is logic, is correct, you can use it at any time. All right, so you can use ing again with all people if what you're saying makes sense. Okay, so actually there's not a rule or there's not an exception. It's always like this. You can work anything with ing, but you only need to be very careful with the meaning of the idea that you are transmitting. Okay, because again, if you say here, for example, I was talking to such a bored guy at that party, he talked about himself for an hour, then ed is not correct because of the context. Right here, ing is correct because of the context. Or here, she's a really interested woman, right? Or in this case, yes, woman. And that's not that correct. Why? Because of the context. She's lived all over the world and speaks 5 languages. So if you say here she's really interested, or she's a really interested woman, it gives a different meaning, and it doesn't make sense here. And the same in the last one. Okay, so Gladys, there's no exceptions, but the context is going to determine whether or not you can use ed or ing. But remember, as you said very well, ed only for things that can feel. People, but as I add also animals. All right, so I don't know if that helps, or if you have any other questions, comments, please let me know. We're going to try to practice this as well. But if you have questions now, again, it's better if you have doubts.
No, that's fine.
All right. Now, let's then analyze. No, not analyze. Let's apply this. All right. And we're going to apply this by having a very similar instruction to the TOEFL. Now, I'm going to send the link, guys, or also you can go please to our document. We are going to work one more time on our writing exercise, and we are going to be describing situations with ing. But you're going to be using a list of adjectives that we have. For example, here, look, you have all these adjectives, and you can analyze the difference, but you know the difference between ing and ed. So you have alarming, alarmed, right? Boring, bored, confusing, confused, depressing, depressed. You have embarrassing, embarrassed, exciting, excited, exhausting, exhausted, fascinating, fascinated, frightening, frightened, frustrating, frustrated, interesting, interested, overwhelming, overwhelmed, and so on and so forth, right? You have a list of adjectives that you can use. And please, Gladys, I need you to use this presentation. So it's important that you can go to the, let me go there also, to our classwork, okay? To first go to Google Classroom. Then you have to look for, if I'm not wrong, this is part of Unit 3. Let me check. Yes. Go to our classroom, please. Go to Unit 3 and go to Lesson 3. There you have the presentation. All right, and we are going to use this presentation because you're going to use those to write examples. All right, you're going to scroll down the presentation, and here you find the list of adjectives that I was reading. Okay, and you're going to pick some of them. You are going to be describing some paragraphs, some situations, some people, or everything. But I'm going to write the instruction. Okay, first I need to know that you were able to find the presentation. After you find it, you are here already, that's great. You are in the document, and the instructions are going to be here. Okay, so to our that contain the following. All right. You are going to compare and describe, or the opposite, right? Describe and compare, right? Describe and compare to, right? To could be things, to people, to situations, whatever you want, all right? To people, it can be to events, to things, all right? Anything that you want by using participial adjectives. Okay, that's the main thing. You have to describe and compare two things. Can be people, events in general, and you are going to use participial adjectives. Amazing, amazed, interesting, interested, frightening, frightened, and so on and so forth. Okay, we're going to use at least 4 different participial adjectives. All right, that's the second part. At least 4. It's not a lot, just 4, but that's the minimum that we can use. All right, and we have to use the punctuation rules that we know. All right. And that's it. That's everything, Gladys. That's what we're going to be doing. Yeah, tell me, Gladys.
Can you give me an example?
Yes, you can start by saying, right? I would like to talk about making this up. Android and iOS, or Samsung and iPhone. Okay, I would like to talk about Samsung and iPhone. I believe that iPhone is an amazing, right, company. So I'm saying amazing, amazing company that was able to create very innovative and interesting devices to use, right? On the other hand, right, Samsung was trying to do the same, right? I would describe this company as, and we can look for any of these attributes. Let me open the list. So we have alarming, amusing, boring, confusing, depressing. No, I don't need that. Exciting, exhausting, fascinating. Okay, we can use fascinating there. Interesting, relaxing, satisfying, thrilling, terrifying, shocking, surprising, tiring. So if we don't find an adjective over there, you can look for a new one. So you can say, for example, I can describe Samsung as what could it be? We used fascinating, amazing. If we used amazing, here you can use fascinating, okay? As a fascinating company, because it's doing a lot of new things to compete with iPhone, all right? Their devices are very good looking and they are surprising because of the new elements they have, and so on and so forth. All right, so I'm doing my best to use at least 4 participial adjectives that describe, in my case, iPhone and Samsung. Okay, and I'm comparing the two of them. Again, I perhaps said things that make no sense, but the idea is that you can compare 2 different things by using these adjectives and other adjectives that you, well, feel that are good for that situation, guys. All right, that was an example for how you can write your ideas. I don't know if you have other questions or perhaps something else to start. Let me know, please.
No.
All right. Now, do you have everything ready? Do you have the presentation over there for you? Because remember, you need to scroll down and up to see the list of adjectives. So it's important that you have the presentation there for you and that you all have everything ready to start. And we're going to have a 7 minutes to 8
I
minutes.
don't have the presentation.
Yeah, but I told you right where it was, guys. Just 1 minute or well, a couple of minutes ago. Let me show you again. All right, I'm going to show you again. You have to go to Google Classroom. You have to go to Unit 3, right? Classwork, Unit 3, and Lesson 3. And there you have the presentation. Okay, so open it. Let me know when you find it, please. And we can start with the timer.
You said Google Classroom, right?
Yes, correct. Google Classroom. Google Classroom, Classwork, Unit 3, Lesson 3. Bless you.
Thank you.
All right, now if you have it there with you, let's begin, please, so that we can finish. We are going to have until 11:15. Well, it's we're going to
No,
have
I don't
7
have.
minutes. You don't have it yet? Okay, let's find it, please.
Okay, you said Unit 3 and then Classroom.
Lesson 3. Exactly. Go to classwork, scroll down to Unit 3, and Lesson 3.
Okay, have it now.
Perfect. Good. Now let's begin, please. We have 7 minutes. Let's finish. If you finish before the 7 minutes, let me know. All right, let's begin, please, guys. All right, so we are with 11:14. We have like, well, the last minute. If you have some details to finish or change, do it, but we're going to check what you got to give feedback, to give some recommendations, and to see in general how it was. So we have one element. Let's try to describe actually. We have kind of the first paragraph. Let's read what we have, please, guys.
Movie, theater, or Netflix? I feel relaxed when I watch a series on Netflix because it's more comfortable. Movie theater is boring and I don't like it a lot. Also, Netflix makes me feel satisfied when you have a lot of options to watch, but when you go to a movie theater, you just can stay with one movie at a time. Netflix is not bored.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we're going to check and we're going to remember there's only one rule that perhaps is very important that we need to take into account. Now, good, I feel relaxed. And again, I told you it depends on the context, right? We're going to analyze if the context works with this. I relaxed. Yes, it makes sense, right? When I watch a series, okay, we're going to say series in this case, because it's going to be like that. Okay, series, not series, just a series with S. On Netflix, yes, right? Because it is more comfortable. Okay, movie theater or the movie theater, it's better because this is like the general thing, is boring, right? So remember the rule here, you need a comma, right? Why we need a comma here? Because we need another complete idea with a new subject. Movie theater, one subject, I, a different subject, right? So comma, and I don't like it. A lot is okay, but for negative, remember, it is better to say much. Okay, and I don't like it much. Also, here you need a comma, right? Why? Because it's not your subject, right? Remember, this is your introductory phrase. This is not your subject. So, also, comma, Netflix is singular. So you need S, right? Makes me feel satisfied when you say but makes me feel satisfied, right? When you have, but you is not the best subject here. You are describing you or something in general. So the best options here would be one of these two guys. When I have or when one has. Okay, so you can say when one has a lot of options to watch. But when you, right? But again, as you're describing you at the beginning, this is part of that one. Netflix makes me, or you can say then one more time, makes one feel satisfied when one has a lot of options to watch. But when you, right, here, comma, right? Why? Because you start with a new complete idea. Comma, but when you go to a movie theater, comma, right? This is the second part of your clause, of your time clause. When you go to the movie theater, comma, you just can't stay with one movie at a time. All right. Now Netflix, remember, what is the difference between ed and ing? Ed is when you feel, and ing is when you produce, right? So in this case, you're talking about Netflix not producing a feeling, right? Not feeling that feeling. So instead of ed, it is going to be in this case, is not boring, right? Because you're describing that Netflix doesn't make you feel bored, right? It's the production, it's not the feeling. So it will be with ing in this case. So those are my corrections, guys. Just the commas mainly, right? Everything was great. Just the commas. This article over here, this might much. A lot is not bad, but much is better for negative. The conjugation for third person, remember, Netflix makes me. The commas with the fanboys, some subjects, and the rule with ing, right? That is when you make a feeling appear. Let me know, please, if you have questions or comments, because with this, we're going to be finishing today's class. Let me know, please.
So cannot be Netflix is bored, right?
Yes, with ed, as we said, we have that rule with ed, only with living beings. But ing is with anything, right? ing is with anything, with living beings, with objects, with situations, with events, ing for everything. But ed, no, right? ed cannot be with Netflix, with objects, with ideas. ed only for people and for animals. ed is not going to go there. You're right.
Okay, that was my
All
question.
right, good. So great. Now again, one more time, please, guys, the two last details. I'm going to repeat once again the idea that if you get to have questions about Friday, right? Remember, you have the class recorded. If you have questions about the class on Friday, let me know tomorrow. If you have questions, remember about the first lesson today, right? The first lesson was from 10:15 until 10:14, more or less. And if you have questions about that one, also let me know. And remember, please, to work on Pearson. Remember that Thursday, right? Tomorrow is it tomorrow? No, the day after tomorrow is the last day for you to complete everything on Pearson, right? All the assignments, the quizzes, and the final test for this module, because we're going to start a new one. All right, so any questions or anything about it? No?
No, all it's good.
Okay, good. So please, let's fill out the survey as always. Gladys, you have it over there. Thanks for being in class. I know that you are sick, right? And it's hard to be like that in class. So thanks for being here, for making that effort. And I'll see you tomorrow, all right? Tomorrow is Wednesday, so our class is before, right? It's the only day on the week that has a different schedule, right? So once again, thank you. Have a good night and see you tomorrow.
6, right? Or 6:20?
It's 15. No, it's o'clock, actually, o'clock. Tomorrow is o'clock.
6 p.m.?
O'clock. Your time would be 6 p.m., right? And the time that we have here is going to be like 8 p.m. this time that they have me here. Correct. So
Right.
see you then tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye. Good night.